Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Tim Parrish, and I have the distinct pleasure of serving as the State Director for Americans for Prosperity, Virginia. And we are joined by Congressman John McGuire from Virginia's 5th District, who has been a longtime AFP champion, even back to your days in the House of Delegates and in the Virginia State Senate, and now representing the great folks here in the 5th Congressional District. So obviously we're having this fireside chat. We're talking about the shutdown. I actually think we're calling this our shutdown series. And I know that you've done a lot on the shutdown stuff already. You voted for the continuing resolution to keep the government open, continue to provide services. So we had a series of questions come in from both our live audience that's here with us and our Facebook Live feed. People are sending in questions. So we're going to start sending those to you to go over during this conversation. Sure. But I've got a few questions for you myself just to drive the conversation. And I know that you're excited to jump right into that. So, Congressman, what caused the shutdown? Why are we here? Just give us a general synopsis of your own personal belief of why we're in the place that we're in right now.
I think the biggest thing is that the radical leftist squad has taken over the Democrat Party. I think Chuck Schumer is afraid of being primaried. I mean, think about this. Chuck Schumer helped draft or craft this continuing resolution. He voted for it 13 times, and as recently as March, and now all of a sudden when he might get a primary from AOC, he's getting everybody to vote no.
Yeah, so what does that path look like to get out of there? I mean, we're nearly 30 days into the shutdown. What's the path out in your opinion?
Well, you know, I call it the Schumer pain game. He says that people have to feel pain to change policy. But I tell you what, 40 million SNAP recipients are going to run out of SNAP on Friday. And the Association of Federal Government Employees, the largest federal organization who endorsed Kamala Harris, is now publicly telling the Democrats, end this Democrat shutdown and get people back to work.
Absolutely. So what are you doing? I mean, you're here with us right now, hosting a town hall. You're live on the internet. I know you're probably one of the most engaging members of Congress, up at 3 a.m. doing sign waves and the Blue Raptor taking it all around the district. What are you doing right now to sort of provide services or continue assistance for constituents here in the 5th District?
Sure. Well, you know, I'm a Navy SEAL and you're a Marine, and
right.
Both Marines and Navy SEALs, we know there's no substitute for hard work. But I've been all over the district. I put a lot of miles on the truck. I've been to free healthcare clinics. I've been to soup kitchens, I've been to businesses and law enforcement organizations and farmers and said, how can we help you navigate this shutdown? What's concerning to you? And what I found overwhelmingly is even Democrats are saying they know it's a Democrat shutdown.
Wow. Ryan, what are you hearing from people beyond that? So they're saying they know it's the fault of the Democrats who won't support the continuing resolution. What else are you hearing from people on the ground here in the 5th?
Well, I think they're sick and tired of the politics over we the people. And so, people want to live, work, and raise their family in peace. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, or Independent, you're an American. And we all want to, we want to live, work, and raise our family in peace. And these games that they're playing in Washington are impacting people's lives. I mean, you think about, we're bringing lots of manufacturing in the district with President Trump's help and Governor Glenn Youngkin's help, but they can't get these contracts done because the government's shut down. You think about our military. Thank God we've got some donors. We wouldn't have a country without our men and women in the military that risk their life for us. And we've got to take care of our military guys. I talked to a military guy as well who said that, I've got helicopters, I need O-rings and parts so I can keep these helicopters flying. God forbid we need them with the hurricane coming.
Right.
And they can't get the parts. So it's impacting farmers, it's impacting our military, our law enforcement, folks that are getting the SNAP and everything else. So I hope that they'll wake up and put the American people first and reopen his government.
Absolutely. So let's just stay right there for a second, talking about the impact on the business community. The 5th District has a lot of defense contractors, a lot of manufacturing, as you mentioned, agriculture. It's a pretty diverse district from an economic standpoint. What does that look like, that actual impact? I mean, you brought up the parts for the helicopters in the military, but just here at home in the 5th District, what's the impact, the real life impact happening on American people?
Well, it's a huge impact. It's uncertainty. In business, you can't make decisions without certainty. You have to have certainty. So we have the National Defense Authorization Act. We can't get that passed. We can't get our budget bills passed. You cannot run a business. You can't run our country without a budget and knowing where the money's coming from and where it's going. And so it's impacting businesses. We are right now on the line, on the fishhook. We're trying to bring 7 more businesses back to this district. That would bring 7,000 jobs. And they're like, well, I'm going to wait and see how this government closure goes. So it's holding up business, it's impacting people.
Absolutely. And so we saw Senator Schumer at one point say that every day gets better during the shutdown. And actually at AFP, we spent a significant amount of resources in the field hearing from everyday Americans who said, actually, every day's not getting better.
Right.
What's your message both to the American people and maybe even to Senator Schumer on this idea that every day is getting better?
I would say, Chuck Schumer, you need to vote yes on the CR like you've done 13 times. I would say Senator Kaine and Senator Warner, you need to vote yes on the CR like you did 13 times, and stop playing politics with the American people. People are in pain and people are suffering for your political game, and it should be putting the people first that you represent.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the future. We are in this shutdown position. How do we prevent this from ever happening again?
Well, that's a good question. I think one is they created the modern 12 spending bill budget process in 1977. Since 1977, we've only ever passed all of them in time 4 times. The last time was 1996. And so we've been living on a CR, a continuing resolution, since 1996.
Wow.
And so what we need to do, and I know President Trump is moving us in that direction to get back to a government order where we pass the 12 spending bills in time. If we do that, then we'll be better off.
And do you think we could ever actually get back to regular order, pass a balanced budget so that we can prevent something like this from happening?
Certainly, as a fiscal Christian conservative, I'm certainly hopeful, and certainly the decisions that President Trump has made, especially with the One Big Beautiful Bill to put jet fuel on this economy and bring manufacturing and business and support our military, all the things that he's doing is moving us in that direction. A lot of your viewers may not know that a lot of times people say presidential executive orders are no good because they're not permanent. Well, what they probably don't know is that he codified 28 executive orders in the One Big Beautiful Bill, and 54 executive orders are codified in this National Defense Authorization Act that's going to basically strengthen our military and get peace through strength.
Absolutely. So what would be your message of what people can do here at home in the field? We're not all in Washington. Some of us are still back here, running a grassroots operation. What could we be doing at our level, at the grassroots level, to impact the shutdown, get the government reopened?
Sure. Well, number one is you have 2 Democrat U.S. senators in Virginia, Kaine and Warner. Call them, email and text them every day and get your friends. Make your voices heard. But also, we are in the middle of an election. In Virginia, we don't have election day anymore. We have election season. But we have 8 days to go. So I would ask for your prayers and your vote, and get 10 people every day. Call them and text them every day, and let's get the biggest turnout we can possibly get so that we can put Winsome Sears in the governor's mansion and get the House of Delegates and have a majority, so we can stop some of this Democrat foolishness.
Absolutely. And what would be your sort of final message just to both your colleagues in Congress, both sides of the aisle, and to your constituents back here at home?
I just say that, by the grace of God, we get to serve this great nation, and it's not about me, it's about we the people. And I'd say put the people that you represent first and listen to them and govern accordingly.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Congressman, for joining us. Really appreciate it. We're going to take some questions from our live audience. We're going to get some questions from our live Facebook feed.
Congressman, thank you so much for being here today to answer our questions. How is your office continuing to serve regular constituents like me who need assistance with federal agencies during the shutdown? What specific services remain available and what things have been disrupted?
Sure. So my office is still open and we're continuing to help people. We have a Marine, and we all know we wouldn't have a country without our men and women in our military who risk their life and sometimes give their life for our freedom. We've got to take care of them. Thank God President Trump is doing everything he can to make sure our veterans are paid. But we have a Marine in the district who for 5 years had a problem, a VA claim, $12,500. And we basically called him up and said, hey, we're going to get you your money. And he said, I don't think you can. I figured he'd say thank you, but he said, I don't think you can. And I said, why do you say that? And he said, well, the last 2 congressmen in 5 years, we couldn't get that done. But these bright young people on my team are working hard, and they got him his money. I think we've returned over $6 million back into the pockets of the people around here. But what we're doing is we are keeping the office open. We're answering phone calls and connecting people with resources, such as food pantries and things like that, to make sure people are fed. A lot of churches in this area are just do an incredible job of donating foods and things like that. But the quicker we get the government open, the better. We all know that SNAP benefits end on Friday, and Governor Glenn Youngkin always making the right call. He declared a state of emergency, and he used some of those emergency funds, which he has the authority to do, to make sure 840,000 SNAP recipients in Virginia don't starve after Friday.
Congressman, thank you for being here today. What steps are you taking to keep 5th District constituents and local elected officials like me informed about shutdown's progress and your efforts in Congress?
Sure. So number one is we are encouraging our Democrat U.S. Senators in Virginia to vote yes on the CR and to encourage their fellow Democrats in the U.S. Senate to stop this Democrat Schumer shutdown and get the government back to work. Also, I've kept my office open, and I have an incredible team of bright young people that have been helping people navigate government through a shutdown all over the district. And so, and I myself, I'm asking folks to call, text, email their senators and get us back to work.
And you've been talking to people. You talked about being at the food pantries,
yes,
at football games. I mean, you've been rather engaged talking to constituents all over the district.
Oh, yeah. I could be wrong on this, but I think I've put over 2,000 miles on my pickup truck in the last 4 or 5 days, going back and forth to D.C., to the district, back to D.C., and it's a big district.
Absolutely.
And just listening to people at food pantries, like you said, and at football games and everything else, and getting their phone numbers and their email addresses and helping them with their problems.
Absolutely. But we really appreciate you being here and all that you're doing to not only be a champion for AFP Virginia, but a champion for folks here in the 5th District.
Semper Fi, brother. Thank you.